In order to wait for her mother-in-law to board the plane, the woman forcibly stopped the flight attendant from closing the cabin door, making all the passengers wait with her. The captain stepped forward to dissuade her, but she slapped him in the face. Other passengers couldn't stand it and advised her to let her mother-in-law change the flight. She slapped another passenger in return and said arrogantly that her husband was the president of this airline and her mother-in-law was a national-level professor. Today was the first time she was meeting her mother-in-law, and there couldn't be any accidents. What she never expected was that the passenger she had slapped was exactly her mother-in-law. Not long ago, this professor had successfully developed a new generation of artificial heart and was about to personally deliver the sample to save her husband. She excitedly told her son the good news. The son said that his girlfriend was also on the same flight, and it would be a good chance for them to meet. The professor readily agreed. The woman was extremely excited when she heard that she could meet her mother-in-law. In order to marry into a wealthy family, she had pretended to be a well-behaved girl for 3 whole years. Now, she was finally going to be recognized. After boarding the plane, she looked around but didn't see the wealthy old lady she had imagined. So she assumed that her mother-in-law hadn't boarded yet and insisted that the flight attendants not close the cabin door. The professor, anxious to save her husband, tried to persuade her kindly. As a result, the woman slapped her. Then the woman arrogantly threw out a handful of money and claimed that if her mother-in-law didn't come today, the plane wouldn't take off even if they had to wait until tomorrow. The professor wanted to get angry, but thinking of her dying husband, she could only hold back her anger and try to persuade her nicely again. The woman, seeing that the professor kept stopping her, got extremely angry. She snatched the medical box containing the heart and hit the professor on the head with it. The professor didn't expect the woman to be so rude. She immediately prepared to call her son, but the woman knocked her phone out of her hand. At this time, the president had received the news that someone was causing trouble on the flight his mother was on and was coming angrily. The woman had now noticed that the professor valued the box in her hand very much, so she immediately proposed that the professor kneel down and slap herself 3 times to apologize to her. Otherwise, she would never get the box back. The professor, thinking of her critically ill husband, could only kneel on the ground humiliatingly and do it while holding back her tears. She thought the woman would keep her promise, but the woman actually picked up a life-saving axe to split the box. Seeing this, the professor rushed forward desperately and used her body to protect the axe. The woman, seeing that she was so fearless of death, actually lifted the axe again. At the critical moment, the president finally arrived on the plane.